thank you, sir, for your time. We would like to ask you a few questions about yourself and
Sure.
the CHL. First, have you ever thought, when you were a young hockey player in Guelph, that one day you would be the first full-time president of the CHL?
No, I didn't ever think that would be the case. I think when I was little, I thought I was going to be playing in the NHL. I used to wear number 16, and my favorite player was Bobby Clark, who was playing on the Flyers at the time, and I wanted to be an NHL player, like a lot of other kids my age, and then you know, genetics took over, and it became pretty clear I wasn't going to grow into being an NHL player, and so I ended up going a different path, and I went So I ended up, my first career, I was actually a school teacher. I did a business degree, and then I went to teachers college, and I come from a family of teachers. My mom and dad were both teachers, and my sister's a teacher, and so I went into that field and then ended up transitioning into sports marketing, and had an opportunity to work for the NBA, and had a long career at the NBA. And then when this opportunity came up, it really appealed to me, given the fact that I had spent a lot of time as a boy, playing hockey and following hockey, and really, love the sport. And so it was a natural sort of move for me to consider sort of applying some of the skills I learned at a league like the NBA and bringing them to the CHL.
As a former teacher, the player development program of the CHL must mean something special for you.
It does, and I think that's really, I think for us, a really important part of the picture for us as we're looking at developing these young athletes, because on the one hand, the CHL is the best hockey development league in the world. So it's a place where you can develop your skills and play against the best competition in the world and really develop as a hockey player. Along the path to making it to the NHL or professional leagues elsewhere, the CHL is the number one producer of talent for those leagues. But at the same time, many of our players don't, unfortunately, like me, don't make the NHL. And so the fact that all of our teams offer scholarships to players for every year they play in the league is really important, because it provides those players with the opportunity to pursue their academic dreams, and have and eventually become helping them in the rest of their careers, whether they be teachers, doctors, firefighters, whatever they choose to be. The CHL supports them. So we play. Our teams play a really significant role in these players' lives, from, in many cases from the age of 16 all the way up into their, mid-20s. And so it's a really long relationship that's really, really important. And so that piece really is important in terms of the development of players, because it's not just the hockey player, it's the whole player.
Mm-hmm. And you think the program will help to retain some of the talent in Canada instead of some players going to work in the States for college or universities?
I do. I think that it's something that we have to continue to promote. The fact that we have some of the best educational institutions in the world in Canada, and players, if they're American players and they go to school in the U.S., that's also covered off here by our clubs. And so I think it definitely helps, and I think the fact that we have a hockey development system that's the most NHL-like out there. I mean, in terms of the number of games we play, and the travel schedule, and the training and the support and the coaching, all the technical skills, the nutritionists, the athletic therapists, the personal support or the mental support coaches, strength and conditioning. All those things in a CHL environment are very, very strong. And I think, for players who want to, realize their hockey dreams, it really does. The CHL is the best option out there, and I think the academic part helps as a part of the discussion. But I think the hockey part on that side for young elite players who really want to develop their skills, that really they have to look seriously at the CHL.
Can you tell us a little bit about your extensive work experience and all the baggage you're bringing with you to the league, and to redo the branding of the league in a marketing point of view?
Sure. So, as I mentioned earlier, I spent a significant amount of time, about 20 years, working for the NBA. And I took a break in the middle, and I left the NBA and went to TSN for a period as well. And so I have, a fair amount of experience in sort of the core business areas of the CHL. So that would be areas like, broadcast and media, digital, sponsorship, licensing, event management, all those kinds of areas. And so, I had the opportunity to work for some pretty good bosses at the NBA, people like David Stern, as an example, Adam Silver. And, for David Stern, the most important part for him, one of the things he was really focused on was the NBA brand and making sure that you always protected the NBA brand and tried to grow the NBA brand. And I think one of the things that really was interesting about this opportunity at the CHL was the opportunity to try to do some of those things here and try to build the CHL brand. I mean, we're fortunate in that we have 3 really strong leagues and 3 strong league brands. But I think part of the reason why they brought me on was to try to do the same thing at the CHL level and try to begin to operate in certain areas like one league and start to sort of move in that direction. So that's one of the things I'm focused on. And I think, COVID has been, a reality for a significant amount of my time frame at the CHL. And so I think it's maybe slowed us a little bit in terms of the plan that to sort of move down that path, but we'll get there. I think it's just going to take us some time.
And how do you see the cooperation between the Quebec Hockey League and the CHL? On which level and on which subjects?
So we collaborate with the QMJHL on everything, basically. So I have a call with Gilles Courteau, who's the longtime commissioner of the QMJHL, has been excellent to work with, and him, Dave Branch, and Ron Robinson, and myself, we form the CHL Executive Council, and so we meet on a weekly basis. During COVID, it was more than once a week, to talk about issues that are relevant to the CHL, issues that are relevant to whether they be business issues like broadcast and sponsorship and those things. It could be issues related to some of the programs that are jointly managed by the CHL, like our drug testing program or concussion management program. There's a variety of things that we do that are sort of we do it on a CHL level league-wide, as well as CHL events and things like the Memorial Cup and our Kubota NHL CHL Top Prospects game, those kinds of things. So we meet pretty regularly on all those things, and we Gilles has been for me a real source of support and really knowledge. I think when you look at the experience level of all 3 who've been in their jobs for a long time, they have a lot of history across the league, and it's been very helpful to me to get my feet wet as I've gotten started.
How do you see the NHL improving the fan experience in the Quebec market?
So I think the a key. I think there's a few things. I think when you say fan experience, it's interesting today because the fan experience is the brands or junior hockey in multiple ways now in 2021. So they experience it in the arena, right? Like we are tonight. And I think the way that we can help the QMJHL improve the fan experience in the arena is probably more around areas like best practice sharing. So, and as a CHL, we have the opportunity to sort of share the best practices from across all 3 leagues, right? So there might be some activities that are happening in Kelowna or in Oshawa that Gatineau may be interested in that can be applied here. So whether that be from in-game promotions to season ticket offers to advertising marketing ideas, right? So I think the idea of cross collaboration across the entire CHL is an area that we can help in that area. But I also think that when you talk about fan experience, there's also a I'm just going to pull out my phone. There's also the fan experience on one of these, right? And so I would say one of the things that we've done it was one of the first things that I worked on once I got in on the CHL was CHL TV and building a streaming platform that could that would be used across all three leagues, and so using the synergies of all three leagues to be able to develop a one platform that you can watch games on and share content on, et cetera, et cetera. And so so that CHL TV would be an example of the synergies of having three leagues operating towards an end goal versus just one. Gives us a lot more synergy, efficiency on things like budgets, marketing efforts. And even tonnage in terms of games. When you look across the CHL, there's more than 2,400 games available on that platform, and so that allows us to do some unique things when it comes to consumer packaging and those kinds of things. So I think that's an example of a product where all three leagues and the CHL have been able to work together for the common good.
Yeah. What's the goal of reaching the youngest fans, and how can it be done so we can attract them to the arenas?
Yeah, so I think there's a few ways to tackle that. I think number one, I think we have to understand that our competition on this, on the devices like these, are all the all my former employer at the NBA and the NHL and all the major properties, sports properties. We need to make sure that our product and the quality of our product on these devices is the best it can be. So that's number one. I think highlights for us would be a real opportunity for us, given the number of games we have. And then I think the third piece is in arena. When you talk about bringing young fans in, I think we have to keep in mind that there are certain, whether it be ticketing products or in venue experiences, that we can tailor to younger fans that'll make coming to junior hockey games more interesting to them. So I think we've got to work across a variety of those areas.
And with your experience in management and marketing, where do you see the league in the next few years?
Well, I think one of the things that we need to do as we try to build the CHL brand, I think is we do need to. I think we need to identify, do an analysis of what we're currently doing at the CHL level in terms of our national events, and then identify if there's areas that we can look at, maybe doing some new things, keeping in mind that the calendar is pretty packed already. So we have to make sure that it may not be adding new things, it might be adding some things and subtracting some things. So we're just going through that process now. We're beginning to have discussions at the CHL Executive Council level and with some of our partners around potential changes that we can make to the schedules and to some of our event, our national events, to see if there's some new things we can do to inject some new thinking and new ideation into how we bring those events to life. And I think that'll be something that will be pretty exciting once we land there.
Mm-hmm. And finally, how do you find the new home of the Olympics?
Oh, the building. Yeah, sorry. I think it's a beautiful building. There's one of the reasons why I wanted to come up is I did want to see the building. I really, there's certain elements to it that I really think are very well done. I like the fact that they have a power ring. That's a feature that not a lot of junior hockey clubs across the CHL have. I like the size. I think 5,000 seats is a great venue size for junior hockey. And I like the location here too. I was being told by the management of the Olympics as they're walking us around just about this area, and it sounds like this area is evolving into a real vibrant kind of both commercial and residential area, which I think is
center of very active cultural life too.
Yeah, and I think it seems really exciting to be located here. Mm-hmm. So I think all things considered, it's been very, very well done. The building's been very well done.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
We appreciate your time, and we hope that it will help people to know you a little better.
Thank you for doing this.
It will be fun to have you here again.
I'd love to come back, maybe for Memorial Cup.